Hi, welcome to class today. My name is Emily, and this is Tensegrity Flow Yoga Level 2. So, Level 2 classes are best for students with some yoga experience or for the days you're looking for a more dynamic, active practice. So, we'll start in a comfortable seated position and then we'll close our eyes. Begin to bring our attention to our breathing. And let the mind move to the present moment by focusing on nothing else but your breath. And if you find that your mind becomes triggered into thinking about the future or the past, then simply bring your attention back to your breath, and that will anchor you into this present moment. And just slow down your breath. And notice the movements in your body that occur naturally with your breath. Even when we appear to be still, we're always at movement. There's always movement occurring. So begin to uncover those subtle movements now. And then we'll become a little more dynamic and active in our movements as we begin to roll our shoulders. So in perfect time with your breath, begin to roll your shoulders down, forward, and then up to the ears and back. Simply observing how the shoulders feel as they move, any variations between your right shoulder and your left shoulder. And do the same the other direction. So just switch direction of the movement. And as much as this is about warming up our shoulders, it's about observing and getting to know this part of our bodies. And then we're going to ground into our right hand. Let's take that left arm up and extend it way over to the side. And more than reaching to the wall, let's reach up toward the space where the wall and the ceiling meet. So encouraging that length, not just depth of posture, but length of posture. Inhale, center, hand returns down. Opposite arm up, exhale, over to the side. Again, reaching more to the space where the wall and the ceiling meet. Feeling extension with your breath in. Grounding and stability with your breath out. And then inhale, let's come back up. Keep that length on your side body. And then let's twist toward the right knee. So your left hand can be on your right knee. It can be on the left knee. It can be somewhere in the middle. Just find which works best in your body. The positioning and the smaller of the limbs can very much affect the positioning of the whole rest of the body. And then inhale, let's come back into center. We'll twist over to the opposite side and moving with your breath, breathing in, reaching out, breathing out to deepen inward. And then let's release, come back into center, move into your table. So always like to start in tabletop position. It's just such a good way to warm up the spine. So we'll place our knees under our hips and then maybe walk the knees back just to like a half an inch or so, maybe not even that much. And the same with your shoulders, setting the hands under the shoulders and then bringing your hands just slightly forward so that you have to extend the length of your torso in order to stack those joints on top of each other. And begin to move through cat tilt, chin to chest, tucking the tail. And then inhale into dog tilt. Chin and sit bones will rise. And then a few times just like this, moving with each breath. So one breath per movement. Notice how the shoulders and your hips move together, how those rotations help to support each movement. And now let's slow down here so that we take a full round of breath with each movement. So in the tilt, you'll inhale and exhale. And then go into cat. And again, inhale and exhale. One more with a round of breath. So instead of just one breath per movement, there's a cycle of breath per movement. When you go into the exhalation part of the action, keep the belly long and squeezed. Last time, so cat tilt, both in breath and out breath. And then move into neutral spine. Let's extend the right leg back behind. So moving into sunbird posture. Squeezing out through the right leg, so firming the right glute. I come up onto ridge tops here just to create a little extra space between the chest and the floor. And then the left arm will extend out into that full sunbird or alternate spinal balance position. Now, as much emphasis as you're extending back through your right leg, extend forward through your left arm. Try not to rely on the right arm to support us here. So let's draw through the core so we're strong, feeling the whole body supporting this movement, supporting the shape. And then exhale, we'll hug in, drawing into a baby cheetah posture. So the knee comes forward more toward the outside of the elbow. The left arm hugs back, elbow toward the sky. And then inhale again, extend and reach out, sunbird. And then exhale into baby cheetah. Two more. Inhale, extend, reaching into sunbird. Exhale into cheetah. Last time, inhale, extend, sunbird. And then exhale, squeeze and draw in tight into cheetah. Extend, reach the arm out once more. And then maybe you're going to bring your hand back, finding the ankle. If that's not available in your body, it's okay. Just stay right here, or maybe just work in the direction of finding the ankle. Inhale, and on your exhale, press the ankle up toward the sky. Breathing. So holding on, opposite arm to the ankle. So diagonal bow. Breathing. Try to keep the head from hanging here. So you're looking out in a horizontal position. Really use the whole of your body to maintain this position in space. Inhale, and then exhale, release. We're going to bring the hand down. Let's swing that back leg forward and then open up the front hip. So maybe we'll pick up the back knee just briefly to kind of situate our hips. And then re-lower the hand to the floor. Inhale, the arms will reach out up to the sky. Firm your legs here. If the back leg feels like it's not functioning well, then maybe you tuck your back toes under so you find more stability from the grip of your toes. Both legs firm, inhale. And then exhale, we'll revolve the spine. So extend up through that left side even further as we bring the shoulder all the way over to the knee. Not just the elbow to the knee, but the shoulder. And then the right arm can circle around, find its way stacking. So the palms stack, the elbows can stack, or you can let your elbows draw together. You might find the elbows drawing together allows you to rotate your spine a little more successfully. Something about the elbows stacking might keep you out of the twist. But you can play with it both ways. See which way works best for you. You can do it both ways. One day one way, the next day another. Maybe we're going to keep those toes tucked under and then lift into your prayer twist, high lunging prayer twist. Breathe, firm the legs. Try to extend up through the head. Extend back through your heel. Strong legs, hugging, lifting up away from the floor. So moving up away from gravity. Inhale, and then exhale. Release. As your hands come down, we're going to turn to the inside of the mat and then turn into your wide forward fold. So I'm going to turn around, but you can stay facing the same direction that you're in. So in our wide forward fold, we're here using our hands either on the floor to help draw the chest between the legs, or if the floor is very far for you, then bring your hands onto a block. So it's very important that you have something to press into so that you can use the strength of your arms to help support this posture. The sitting bones are rising. There's slight bends into your knees. Maybe you deep bend your knees and then straighten them a few times. So bending and straightening the knees, working to that deep anterior tip, nice deep hip creases. And you'll find that action of bending and straightening actually moves you really deep into the shape. Let's inhale. And then bring the hands to the hips. And go on and stand all the way up into our standing position. We're going to lift up onto the balls of the feet and then bring the heels in and sit down into a temple posture. So for the first temple, it's always good to kind of let your weight shift right and left. Just kind of warming up the hips. And then we're going to press down into our knees, lift up through the crown of the head. And then as you slide the left sit bone back a little bit further and wider, the left shoulder is going to come forward. Feel more space between the hip crease and the underarm, so the armpit. So feel this relationship between the crease of the hip and the crease of your arm, or the armpit. Hip, pit, and armpit. Inhale, let's come up, lift. And then exhale, other side. So kind of hollow out the left shoulder as you draw it forward. The left hip goes back and wide. Breathe. And find that we're not holding stagnantly, but we're holding with pulsation. So each breath, there's a little pulse, a little bit of movement. Inhale, let's come back. Let's do it one more time. So lift up just a bit so it releases the intensity in the legs. And then exhale, exaggerate that left shoulder coming forward. Left hip goes back and wide. Left armpit forward and wide. Feel hollowed in both joints. Inhale, center. Pull that shoulder back. And then last time, so we'll release a bit to release that intensity and then sit down into it. So bringing the shoulder forward, the hip back. A little bit of pressing, breathing. Just like you're slowly moving into and opening up that connective tissue there. And then inhale, release, let's come back into center, and then slowly come all the way up into standing. Let's heel toe our feet in, so internal and external rotation of the legs as we come into standing on the mat. We'll pick up the left leg, and let's open our hip into a tree. Finding the hip rotation here. Inhale, the arms come up. Breathe. Both arms, hands clasped, lift. Find the spine super long, front of the spine, back of the spine, sides of your spine. And then arms come out. And let's do the other side. Hug that knee in. And then we'll bring the foot down. Pick up the other leg. So lift, open the hip. Feeling that deep external rotation of your right hip. Inhale, arms out, up. Maybe they clasp overhead, lift. Use the strength of your arms to pull that spine longer. Feel the front of your spine, the back of your spine, the sides of your spine. And then release, hugging the knee in. And then down to the floor. Turn to face the front of your mat. Inhale, reach your arms upward. And then exhale, we're going to fold the chest long and out over the legs. And as we bring the hands down, maybe to a block or the floor or the shins. Just be sure that you can touch and ground into something here. Closing your eyes. Releasing the back of your neck. Relaxing your jaw. And then we'll bring the hands down. Let's play in Malasana to find crow. So in Malasana, notice I lift my heels first, then I take my knees wide and sit down. That helps to create some space for your hips to move in. And then bringing your hands down, shift your weight forward, bringing the knees up toward the armpits. And then we can stay here, just allowing the feet to stay down. Or maybe you play with lifting foot at a time. Maybe it's keeping a big toe down. That's okay too. If you're uncertain with your balance. Hugging, squeezing through the core here, engaging those pelvic floor muscles for deep stability. Keep the neck long, release down, and let's step back into a plank and we'll take a belly vinyasa. So slowly lower all the way to the floor. And then lifting up into a back bend of your choice. Can be a sphinx, a cobra, maybe even upward facing dog pose. We'll traction the spine by pressing into the hands, pulling your mat back. And then release, bringing your chest down over the floor, onto the floor, and extend the arms out. Stay ridge-topped in your hands. Inhale, the legs can come up. As the legs lift, maybe the arms then lift. If that stresses out your shoulders, then keep your hands down. Take a few full rounds of breath here so you feel your belly both expand and draw away from the floor. So when you inhale, your belly will expand on the floor. When you exhale, your belly will move away from the floor. And then release. Come down, hands under the shoulders. Let's take a trip back to child's pose. So just a quick child's pose here. Hips can touch down to the floor. And then inhale, return into your hands and knees. So from here, we'll do some side to side movements. So side to the hips to the right side, and then to the other side. So C curves in both directions. Now, when I do the C curve, I always like to lift one knee. Seems like it makes more space. So if I'm curving toward the left shoulder, looking to the left shoulder, I lift the left knee. So I keep the hip hollow. The knee will kind of draw in on its own, almost like you're going to move your knee towards your armpit, which you can do if that feels like it, makes sense in your body. Just opening in the lateral movements. All right, now let's come back into center. And as we return to center, we'll extend our left leg back into sunbird. Take the right arm forward, reaching out. Strong through the back body, the front body, the side bodies. And then exhale into baby cheetah, hug, moving the knee more to the outside of the elbow. Inhale, extend. Let's reach. Strong front, strong back. And then exhale again, hug. Maybe breathe out your mouth as you draw into this contraction. Inhale, extend. And again, exhale, hug. And then last time, inhale, extend. And then exhale, hug. All right, we'll extend. We're going for that alternate spinal balance. So the diagonal bow pose. So we'll reach back, finding the hand to the ankle. Inhale. So always contract a little on the inhale. And on the exhale, extend up into the full posture. Breathing, moving the neck, neutral position, eyes in a horizontal plane. Strong stability. Keeping the core muscles engaged but long and stretching. Breathe. And then release. Bring the hand down. We're going to swing that leg forward between the hands. Pick up the back knee just temporarily, just enough to slide the hips back a bit more, to stretch more through the front of the right hips. The right toes can be tucked or untucked. You'll have more stability with them tucked. Inhale, the arms extend up to the sky. On the exhale, sink your hips deeper toward the mat. And then again, we're going to find the twist here. So moving the right shoulder way up over that left leg. See if you can even use your left arm to help maneuver the shoulder deep. And then the left arm comes circling around, finds its way into prayer at the side. Elbow can be lowered. Elbow can be stacked. Maybe play around between those two positions and find what works best for your spine. And then if you choose, you can tuck your back toes under, lift the knee up. Notice how high my hips go as I lift. And then I'm going to settle into the pose. Breathe. Strong back leg, strong spine working out through the crown of your head. Feel this long energy line all the way from the heel through the crown, and then release. Bring the hands down to the inside of the foot and let that momentum turn you to the other long side of your mat. Now for this one, I'm going to turn from this direction so you get a different perspective. You stay facing the same way you were. All right, so here we are, long side. Again, it's very important that you have something to put your hands on. So you're going to use that pressing down to help pull your chest toward the floor. And lift the sitting bones to the sky. Breathe. Feel this working through your entire body, so you feel yourself as a whole unit, not as parts where you feel a lot of intensity in one area or another. This should feel rather balanced across the whole of your connective tissues. And then bring your hands to your hips. Inhale. Let's come all the way up into standing. And then we'll bring our heels in once more, just like we did before, and have a seat. Same as before. Now notice when I sit, my butt goes way back, so I'm not trying to tuck my tailbone under. I'm not trying to keep my hips in line with my knees. I'm going to let my hips go back, and then my sitting bones go wide. So it's going to make this posture accessible for most bodies, and your chest will come forward. You can support yourself with your hands. And then we'll take the left shoulder up and forward just as we did before. The hips go back and wide. Inhale, let's come back into center. We come up a bit as we go into the next side, so the shoulder comes up. Widen out as we sit. Inhale, come back. Let's do one more on each side so we come up as we transition. Shoulder forward, hip back, and sit. And then back into middle. And then last time, so we'll come up. Shoulder goes forward. And then back into center. All right, let's come into our standing position. Now bring your heels out this time. So back wide with your heels. Lift up through the crown and then fold again back into that wide angle forward fold. Hands can be on the floor or on the block. And then we'll bend the right knee here. Moving again, the hips back and wide. Chest forward into side squat. Notice my right heel is hovered just slightly above the floor. Inhale, center, and then exhale over to the other side. Now I like to step that left hand a bit wider. Encouraging the hips back and wide. Inhale, center. Left hand moves in. And then other side, right arm will move out as your right hips move back and wide. The left leg is long. So this is from the front. All right, and then back into center one more time. Side squat over to the left. The left arm will step out. The hips go back. And then back into center. Returning to your breathing. Bring your hands to your hips and inhale. We'll come all the way back up into standing. And just like we did before, we'll heel and toe. Heel, toe, coming into standing position. Now we might need a chair or a wall for stability. For this, we'll do standing pigeon. We're going to pick up the left leg, find the hip open, and then you're going to press your hips back and have a seat. Just like you might imagine that you were actually sitting in a chair. And if you're close enough to the wall, you might actually be able to use your hand against the wall and sit your sit bones up against the wall, which is actually really nice so that you can press your hips back into the wall and get the stability of the wall pressing back to the hips. Firming and flexing the front ankle. Breathe. So I'm pressing my knee into my hand and my hand into my knee. And then inhale, I'm going to come back into standing. Internally rotate the leg to release. And then bring that foot down and do the other. So lift, open, inhale. Maybe feel that wall behind you as you set your hips back toward the wall. Figure 4, the front leg. Keep a firm flexion in your ankle. Knee to hand, hand to knee. Hips pressed back to the wall. And again, you don't have to have the wall to do this. I just happen to have a nice bare one behind me. You can do this in a chair or with nothing. Inhale, let's come up. Hug the knee in, and then release. Bring the foot down. So let's take our feet just a little wider than hips width. Both arms are going to come up and both arms over to the side. Standing crescent. I'm using my right arm to gently pull my left arm to the side. Or actually I'm pulling it toward the ceiling end to the sky. So my right arm is moving like this trajectory. So it's moving like that. Inhale, come up. Do the other. So lift, and then exhale over. Again, the whole time, my left arm, it's isometric, so it's an action without a movement. But if it were moving, it would be moving like that, out. Breathe. And then inhale, let's come up. We'll lift, extend. We're back at the top of the mat. Exhale, forward fold. And back over your legs. Let's step or float back into our plank. And from this plank, we'll do side plank. So step your left hand in one palm print and then rotate over into Vashisthasana, side plank posture. Try to keep weight into the whole of your hand so it's not just resting in your wrist. Really using the fingers here. Even using the top arm fingers. So engaging the top arm. Using your whole body. Release, bring the hand back down, push the floor away. Step the right hand in one palm print so it's under your shoulder. Come into side plank. Lengthen out through the neck. Really remember, don't drop your neck here. So stay long through the bottom of the neck, sides of the neck, front and back of your neck. Breathe. Use the top arm for stability. And then release, bring that hand down. And then all the way to your belly. And we're going to extend our arms out, inhaling, and then exhale, we'll lift up. And now you can stay here, or we're going to balance those two alternate spinal balances, the diagonal bows from earlier, into one bow. So we'll hold on to our ankles, inhale, release a bit, and on the exhale, we'll press the feet to the sky. And then breathe in a way that rocks your torso. So you'll breathe back, you'll rock onto the pelvis, and as you breathe out, it'll roll you forward onto your ribs.